It is Christmas Eve. You guys have made it. You've made it through the holiday. Here we are, the night before all the magic happens. Today's episode is all about celebrating you as you've gotten through this season. So let's get started. Welcome to the Crazy Ex-Wives Club, a podcast dedicated to helping women navigate the emotional journey that is divorce. I'm your host, Erica, and if you're trying to figure out life after the big D, welcome to the club. Whether you're contemplating divorce or dealing with the aftermath or any of the many phases in between, the club has got you covered. Each week, you'll hear stories from women who have been in your shoes. This isn't about spilling tea on divorce details. This is about giving you the tools to take control of your own healing journey. Listen in weekly for advice, tips, and tools to help you move through each stage of the process. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Crazy Ex-Wives Club. I'm your host, Erica, and today we are getting intimate with a little fireside chat on this Christmas Eve. So no matter what holidays you are celebrating, we are nearing the end of December. We're nearing the end of the month of magic, and you have gotten yourself this far, and I think that that is worth celebrating. It's worth celebrating every time you showed up when you didn't want to. It's worth celebrating every time things got hard and you buckled down and got through it. It's worth celebrating the fact that you are here another year, another step forward in your journey. And this is the work in being able to define what your life looks like post-divorce, post-transition, post-change. One thing is constant, and the only thing that is constant is change. Time continues to evolve. We continue to move forward. We grow, we change, we move through the seasons of our life. And so no matter how long this season feels like you are stuck in it, the reality is that one day you wake up and it feels completely different. And one day you look back and you go, holy shit, it's been, for me, 10 years since I found out that my then husband was cheating. Time continues to move forward, and we can get lost in that momentum because we focus on where we're not. We get stuck saying, well, I'm not there yet. I haven't gotten it done yet. There is a beauty in being able to sit in a space and look backwards and say, holy cow, look at how far I truly have come. And today's episode is one of those permission slip episodes, right? Nothing's wrong with you. This is hard. Rebuilding after divorce is hard. In fact, it's been the tagline on my emails and on my blogs for a long time. Like, getting divorced was hard, but learning to live again after divorce was even harder, because now you are redoing all the systems in your life while also navigating a massive personal transformation and healing, while also navigating all those little landmines of the experiences and the trauma and the pain that still sits there. So I want you to sit for a hot second and just acknowledge, yeah, this is hard, and you're doing it. You are doing it every single day. Don't forget how much work you have put in, even if you are not all the way to where you want to go. You're doing the work, mama, and you're doing a good job. One of the things that always hit really hard during the holidays, even as a young child, even as the one who was experiencing the holiday magic, was that comparison factor, right? How many gifts did they get? How much money was spent on them? I remember growing up, we were young too. Her name was Christy, and she was my friend. And I remember being so incredibly jealous because her grandparents gave each grandchild $500 for Christmas. And you are talking back in the 90s, that was a huge chunk of change. I just remember thinking like how amazing that would be, and how much different it would make the holidays. And that comparison factor, that comparing yourself to other people, I think we're always sitting in that space. Did I do enough? Did I spend enough? And especially right now, as the world continues to get more expensive and inflation. I was just talking today. Remember back in the day, you probably are still doing it. I'm not in an office anymore, so I'm not doing it. But you know, you'd have a Secret Santa. And so 10 plus years ago, we'd do a Secret Santa, and your total like allotted amount was $20 to use for a 4-week run of surprising and delighting whoever your secret Santa was. $20 doesn't go really far when a bag of chips was $7 yesterday when I was at Target. So it's crazy to sit here and think about how many things have changed, and yet we continue to compare our monetary results to everybody else. And then you add divorce in there, and we start comparing to other things, an intact family. I had a reel last year that said, you were mourning your broken family, grieving your broken family. And good Lord, did people roll in to tell me my family is not broken. And you're right, it's not broken. But sometimes in the moment, it feels like it's broken. It feels like it's never going to get picked back up. But this is where the mindset work comes into play. The details don't change, but how we choose to look at it does. So when we sit in that monetary comparison mindset, we can either continue to look at it and say, gosh, I still really didn't do enough. Or we can tell the story of, look at how much magic I did create. Look at the differences that I did. Because it's not supposed to be about the gifts. It's not. And it is and it isn't. Because as a culture, we have kind of built it around how much money is being spent. But as a household, you have the ability to create a different story, to tell a different story to your kids. How are you making gifts for each other instead of going out and spending? How are we finding things in our own bedrooms that maybe we don't need anymore? And can we share that and give that and turn that over to somebody else so that they can have something that they love this holiday season? So when you find yourself in that bubble of comparing yourself, which creates a lot of worry and anxiety and the fear of I'm never going to get ahead and oh my gosh, how am I ever going to afford this? Stop that shit. How do you stop it? Literally go, okay, well, that's crazy and I don't want to think that way anymore. Or yes, I see you worry. I see you money anxiety. I see you. That feels terrible. I am not going to pick up this thought right now. And then gently shift the story you're telling. You know what? It's tough this season, but next year it will be different. Or you know what? Yes, it's tough this season, but the money part doesn't really matter as long as we get to spend our time together. And yes, holidays look different right now, but they're not going to look this way forever. Comparison is a thief. It robs you of your ability to celebrate what you have created this year, what you are creating right now, and who you and your kids are becoming. So every time we compare ourselves to somebody else, we're constantly creating our own personal narrative that we're not enough. And you are enough. Everybody has their own path and their own story to tell. So why would we add more tension, struggles to that narrative? So if comparison is popping up for you, I want you to call it out. I want you to say, oh, I see you. I see you, comparison spiral. I'm not doing it today. And shift your focus, shift your attention into all of the great things that you have been able to complete this season. You might think, Erica, that is easier said than done when my kids are there and we're celebrating and things are busy and they're loud and we're laughing or we're watching holiday movies. And what happens when I'm all alone? This is another rite of passage for you when it comes to life after divorce. I think those alone seasons, especially in the beginning, are incredibly hard, mainly because we're trying to run from the feelings that we don't really want to look at. We're trying to run from all of the places that this divorce experience has hurt you. But the more time we spend running from it, the bigger they get, the louder they get, the more they demand to be seen. And so instead of running from them, when you have those big firsts this season, especially the first holiday that you don't have your kids, I want you to really sit with those feels and figure out what they're trying to tell you. What is the loneliness trying to convince you of this holiday? Is it trying to tell you that you'll never be worthy to have somebody? Is it trying to tell you that your children's magical holidays are forever broken? Is it trying to tell you like, see, this is why you got divorced. You weren't worthy of having somebody in your life, because all those stories are not actually coming from you. That's a figment of the dark side of your imagination, the ego side that spends so much time and energy telling us to worry about things that we don't have to worry about. Those alone moments are a beautiful opportunity for you to lean into the transformation that this divorce journey has brought for you. And it can be hard. It can be uncomfortable. Nobody really Very few love to dig into the painful places of their past. I dig it because it feels really good after you get through it. And I think that is one of the biggest pieces that I've noticed in the last year. The more the healing happens, the less painful each little moment becomes, which also means the less relief comes after a big transmutation of pain. So if you're sitting in those first, and while yes, it feels so overwhelming, I'm also going to tell you that the beauty and how amazing it feels when you get to the work on the other side, it is life changing for you. So when you are in those moments alone, I want you to lean into filling your own cup. Does that mean that you need to journal and cry it out? Does it mean that you need to go take a bath? You know, that's one of the favorite things I used to have people say to me that would drive me nuts, but it's kind of true. It's fun to light some candles, put some music on. I used to put a little heater in my bathroom because, you soak in the tub for a while, it gets a little cold. I also would allow myself the space to move through what I wanted to move through. So I didn't overbook that time. As those alone moments happened, they became sacred. They became my time. They became my personal space, my personal rituals for me to really figure out who I was and what I wanted and what I needed to still move through. In fact, as you move through it, they can become something as desirable as having your kids for the holiday. You might be calling me crazy right now. I love having my kids for the holiday. I love having my son and my 3 stepsons, and it is a much different Christmas than when it is my partner and I alone. But when it is my partner and I alone, it is a much different Christmas. When I was alone in Colorado on Christmas all by myself, it was a much different Christmas. Didn't necessarily mean that it was bad. It just meant it was different. So if you're facing this holiday and you are looking at your first holiday alone, don't run from it. Lean into it. Work through the grief that wants to come up, work through the places that hurt, and then move into what do I want to give myself today? It'll be a little up and down. It'll be a little good and bad. And it builds an emotional resilience, an emotional strength, and a confidence for you to be able to know that you will always be there for yourself. So I want you to figure out one thing that you can do for you. What is one thing that brings you joy that you want to protect for this holiday season? It can be little things like I bought my favorite bottle of bubbly and I enjoyed sipping that before I had my breakfast, right? I had a special creamer that I used in my coffee for that day, or a meal that I was really looking forward to, or I didn't unwrap all the presents that arrived, things I bought for myself and a few things that my friends had sent. I put them under the tree and I waited to open them that day, and I opened one at a time, and then I went about my day and did some other things. I put some movement in my day, went for a walk, took the dog out, right? Went to the gym. I found small, little things I could do throughout the day to level out the wobble, the highs and the lows, the pain and the joy, the wobble that's going on. The goal is to steady the wobble, because when we steady the wobble, then we can make good steps forward. So find those little things that you're going to do and gift yourself. What are you looking forward to that day, whether it's a meal or a drink or an alone time? I took lots of naps, and that was also very delightful because as a, solo flying mom for 5 days out of the week, I was tired, I was exhausted, and I needed a lot of sleep. That's also a way to give back to yourself. And just remember that little voice inside of our head that starts screaming things. It's like the best friend we can't get rid of. We would never talk to our best friend that way. If your best friend were struggling to get through their first holiday post-divorce, what would you say to them? That's what you should be saying to yourself. Might be a great opportunity to sit down, grab a journal, and write a letter to yourself so that next year, when the holiday hits, you can look back and you can see exactly how far you've come. Now, partnered in with that, this is a little call out for those moms who are holding both the joy and the grief at the same time. because the alone moments, one of the beauty of them is that then I could move through my feelings, right? I could feel the feels. I could get the stuff out. I could work through the problems because I didn't have anybody else I had to take care of. My son wasn't watching. I didn't have to hide anything. But what happens when you are having to be the mom and those pockets of grief hit at the same time? Can you let it be true that your kids can have magic even if you're grieving? Is it possible that they can be looking forward to their holiday while still reminiscing or feeling bittersweet over the holidays that will not happen again? Transition periods. Things can be both. It doesn't have to be all good or all bad. There can be pieces that you have done for every single holiday with your kids that you've just done because it is the tradition that was created. And now you sit in a space where you ask yourself, did I even like doing that? Yes, there's going to be grief this holiday season for you, for your kids, and there can still be joy. There can still be beautiful new pieces. And you know what else I want to add to that is that there is something so powerful when you teach your children that it is okay for things to be both. We don't have to fake it. We don't have to pretend that it's all joy and it's all fantastic. We can get really excited about the present that we just opened from underneath the tree, and then we can be a little bit sad that dad wasn't here to be able to experience it as well. And the strength and the beauty and the power that you have as their mom to be able to sit in the muck with them builds a much stronger connection between you. To be able to say, yeah, this is hard. And there are times when this does suck. And we are going to get through it. So just remember that it isn't necessarily about always faking it. Sometimes it's about just teaching your kids how to be real. Emotions show up. Yes, this sucks some days. And there's some days when it's really, really good. And the good days are going to outnumber the bad days. And we're going to move through this together. A lot of times as moms, we put a little bit of our own story into what we think our kids are feeling. So just caution there that you can show up, you can be present, it can be joyful, and there can be some grief tied into it, and your kids can move through it a heck of a lot faster than us adults do. So don't fear the emotions that are going to come up. Sit with them, be with them, allow them to bring you the lessons that they're meant to bring you, and then enjoy your day. If you're feeling overwhelmed, exhausted from overthinking, and stuck in uncertainty, this message is for you. You don't have to keep feeling that way. Inside the club, you'll find a safe space to rediscover who you are, clarify what you want, and determine how you want to move forward. Surrounded by women who truly understand and guided by expert support, you are not alone on this journey. Join us at thecrazyexwivesclub.com/the club. It's time to reclaim your life. As you guys move through these holidays, your first holiday solo with the kids, your first holiday solo and alone. Then we hit the second holiday and the second holiday and then the third, right? We've got all these firsts, and then we start repeating this pattern. And one of the tricky things that comes up, again, our mind, you guys, our mind, it plays these broken records. It plays these limiting beliefs that truly hold us back, because then all of a sudden in comes a story of, I should be over this. It's been 5 years. This shouldn't bother me anymore. Spoiler alert, what I can tell you is it takes about 5 years at the holidays. It takes you about 3 years to start really picking up the pace of the healing journey in your life, I would say, but closer to 5 to be able to start running again at the holidays. And who taught you that healing has to have a deadline? Who taught you that it has to move forward at a specific pace or in a linear fashion? Healing is not linear. It's not. It's cyclical. And things like the holidays pull up deeper and deeper and deeper awareness around the pieces that we need to heal. So if you are sitting in that third, fourth, fifth season past divorce, and you're still kind of beating yourself up about like, I should be over this. My little mantra for you is I'm not behind. I'm becoming. What you've survived this year is something you never thought you were going to have to. And you did. And so even if you're sitting on that 4th year post-divorce, beating yourself up because you still can't find the joy, I'm going to call you out on that and say that's bullshit. because you have been doing so much work in between the seasons. So sit down and really look at it and reflect. How are the drop-offs going? How's the co-parenting going? How are the Friday nights when you don't have your kids going? Remember those things that you thought were going to crush you and now you're able to handle? Now you have the capacity to roll through them, to breeze through them, to no longer step into the triggers of what your ex is telling you. The same gets to happen for the holidays. It's just we put a little more pressure on it. So stop beating yourself up that you haven't been able to move through it in the right time, and instead know that it is still evolving. And all of a sudden, one year it hits, and you're sitting there and you have this deep, peaceful moment where you know without a doubt that you have made it to the other side of the holiday grieving. And it feels brilliant and it feels like you never want to let this feeling go. And then life keeps going. And we have the opportunity to call it back in. You wish that it was a diploma on the wall. You wish it was a status you achieved. And once I achieve that status, I can maintain it forever. But that's not the way that emotions work. They work by getting pushed and triggered and pulled in different directions. And how do we use our tools to shift our mindset back to how we want to choose to see things? Because it rarely is about actually changing the conditions. I can tell you that I have not successfully changed anything in how my ex sends me text messages. They are still words. They are still not in the way that I would want to work or say things. And I no longer let them trigger me. I no longer have a reaction to them. My favorite quotes is the opposite of love is not hate. It's indifference. Because if we are still hating on someone, then there is still so much pain and resentment that is wrapped up in it. And you know what pain and resentment is? That is unmet love that needs to be worked through. It is places where you have been hurt. Your love meter got damaged and it wants to be seen. And that piece of you wants to be picked up. And we don't need some person to do that. You can do that. You can do that. And it starts by shifting some of these mindsets, shifting some of these stories that we want to tell ourselves. When we learn how to shift our mindset and when we learn how to control our thoughts, you know what happens with it? Our emotions shift. It's why I love climbing the emotional ladder. It is such a process-based way to look at the abstract world that is emotions. So for those of you who are like, oh my God, I don't want to feel the feels, or the feeling of the feels is so overwhelming, I don't even know where to go, or it feels like a tornado that has picked you up and is just having its way with you. The emotional ladder download, in fact, I'll put it in the show notes. The emotional ladder free download, it gives you the chart and all you have to do is say, okay, where are my thoughts? What emotional vibration frequency are my thoughts in right now? And how can I shift my mindset, shift my thoughts one step up the ladder? And this is how we win. This is how we move the marker. This is how we rebuild a life that we are wildly in love with. And it's not that once you have it, it stays forever. It is a constant practice of where am I at? Where am I at on the ladder? And what do I need to shift? Is this thought serving me or is it holding me back? Is this thought causing me pain? Is the thought that I will be alone forever causing me pain? Hell yes, it is. I mean, maybe some of you are probably like, sweet, I never have to deal with another crazy person in my life. But for the majority of us, that's a painful thought. My thoughts are having more fun at their dad's house than they'd have with me. That is a painful thought. I'm never going to be able to get through these holidays and the magic will never come back. That is a painful thought. Stop that shit. This year, I did okay. Next year, I'll try again. Better thought. I'm glad that my kids are having fun at their dad's house because it's one less thing I have to worry about. Better thought. I don't want to be in rooms where people do not love and accept me for who I am. So if that means that this year I get to spend the holidays with me, who loves me for exactly as I am, I'm okay with that. Better thought. We're not toxic positivity. We're not faking it till we make it. We're not sitting here and being like, oh my God, I love the holidays again. Bullshit. Don't do that. It sets you back in your ability to find stable thoughts that can help you move forward. So let's celebrate some wins. I want you to think about 3 wins from this year that maybe nobody else clapped for, nobody else saw. What were those 3 wins? Full transparency for me, I really shifted how I showed up on social media. If you've ever seen and read the comments on some of the posts that go viral, they are not nice. And after a few of them, it made me shrink what I really wanted to say because it hurts when people show up and say negative things. Even though I know they're not saying it about me, it hurts. And so I was hiding. So I shifted that gently and as I was ready and as I could hold capacity for. It was not something I ran around being like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what did I do? But that was a huge win this year to be able to stand in the knowing that I don't care who else shows up or how they decide to clap back. I know that I can speak from my heart and my truth and that I am safe. So find your 3 wins. Find your 3 wins. They can be big, they can be small, they can be all sorts of things. I regrounded myself in the practices that are needed when anxiety hits. Guys, I had some anxiety this year. I don't know where the hell that came from. I don't know if it's because, I'm mid 40s, hormones shifting, all that bullshit that we hear about all the time, or if it just was life is lifing me. But there were nights that I'd wake up in the middle of the night, mild panic attack, couldn't breathe, couldn't sleep, couldn't stop my thoughts. I remember sitting in those moments and being like, God, I remember this feeling from divorce. I remember feeling exactly like this when I found out he was cheating. And I had to re-ground myself in those practices. What was it? It was one tiny thing to bring me joy, one tiny moment of relief, one tiny challenge, the thought. It would show up and I'd be like, you know what? I see you. Yeah, got it. Not going to solve that overnight, but I am going to take one step forward to figuring out an answer. That was a huge win for me that nobody was clapping for other than me. Because the relief that came with being able to tap back into those practices felt so amazing. To be honest, I was really grateful it happened because it's been a lot of years since I have felt that level of anxiety. And I was grateful to be back in it because I know that that's the level that you're experiencing. And so to be able to truly help you and guide you and teach you exactly how to get over those extremes, I went back into one. So I don't regret it. Good Lord, am I happy to be through most of it. It hit a little bit again this morning and I was like, yep, nope. I'm on the other side. I'm on the other side of the earthquake where now I can make a choice. So when it hit this morning, I just was like, yeah, okay, I see you, but I'm not going there. 3-4 months ago, it would have derailed me and I would have needed to take a nap. Favorite tip when anxiety hits. The next thing I want you to celebrate. What are you stronger this year than you were last Christmas? Even by 5%. What's stronger? What have you mastered? Where are you standing up for yourself more? Even if you were married last Christmas, I guarantee last Christmas you kind of maybe just did the work so that it caused less stress and chaos in the house. And this year instead, I can guarantee you probably had to say no to some things. That is a stronger than last year Christmas example. And then the last thing I want you to reflect on is what did you stop tolerating this year? Who did you become? Who did you figure out? I'm not dealing with that anymore. It might be somebody who you decided no longer deserves a seat at your table. It might be putting yourself in the room with people who are more negative than you want to be around. What did you stop tolerating? It's a beautiful place. And in fact, in next week's episode, because next week's episode will drop on New Year's Eve, we're about to kick off a little bit of a series of a handful of episodes that are really going to help you power through 2026. So next week, I want to start by reflecting on this year. So we're going to do some really good work to get clear on what worked and what didn't work. And then the following week, I'm going to guide you through one of the things that we do inside the club, which is the Divorce Detox Hour, which is all about nervous system relief. Because when we are stuck in survival mode, we can't get to the thoughts we need to get to. Right? Our system is hardwired to protect us and it's on high alert. So then I'm going to take you through a Divorce Detox Hour and you're going to get to have that direct line to that embodiment, to that relief, to how it feels to line back up to your true knowing. Then we're going to dive into how do you use your vision to guide what you put together for 2026 and setting clear intentions. So really beautiful next about 4 episodes that we are going to be taking you through on a journey, which I'm very excited about because I love a good New Year planning. There's also going to be a new offer that's launching that's all about 6 weeks. I've got a 6-week small group program to help you define who you want to be in 2026. So I want you to start thinking about that. Is this the space that you want support and guidance and help? 6 weeks. We meet once every single week. We're going to help you define who you are, what you want, what's important to you, what are you ready to let go of, and how are you going to start creating those boundaries, the boundary word, the B word, to set you up for success. So that will have more information coming in January. And then as always, we've got the club. So the accountability space, the space where we meet 3 times a month, where we dive deep into like what is going on in your world and what kind of support do you need. We do a lot of time celebrating wins, which is really fun. And January kicks off a book club in the club. So we have a quarterly focus all about self-help, self-development, leveling up, and figuring out who we are. I am wishing you all a holiday filled with self-love. I'm not going to wish that you're happy. I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, I hope you have so much joy or this or that. You know what I really want? I want you to have such a deep moment of clarity to know who the fuck you are and how amazing you are and what a good job you are doing. And I want you to know that on such a deep soul level. So as you listen to the end of this episode, over these next few days, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, the rest of the holidays moving into the new year, when that moment hits you, you know what my ask is of you? I need you to come over to the Crazy Ex-Wives Club on Instagram and drop me a message. Literally, I read all the messages. I use ManyChat to send you a link, but other than that, guys, it's me. It's confidential. You're always chatting with me. Send me a message and be like, holy shit, Erica, I found my moment. Tell me about it. Because together we rise and together we learn more about what we need to be able to move forward. So I cannot wait to hear about that earth-shattering moment you find your deep self-love. And as always, my DMs are open. So if you are struggling, grab one of those divorce discovery calls. We'll talk through podcasts. We'll talk through support options. We'll see what the right next step is for you. You guys are crushing it. I am so proud of everything you are doing. And I cannot wait to walk 2026 with you. Until then, give yourself grace, and we'll be back next week to reflect on the year and get ready for the new year. And that's it. Another great episode of the Crazy Ex-Wives Club, a podcast for women learning how to heal from their divorce. Tune in next week for more advice and tips to help you figure out life after divorce. And until then, give yourself grace, do the best you can, and know that this is all part of the process.